Everybody, welcome back to another episode of 13 Rings, an NFC East podcast. I'm your host, Lucas, with Mal, Maurice, and Earl as my co-hosts. And we have a very interesting Week 17. But before we get into that, we always have to review our preseason predictions. So let me pull that out real quick because I got to keep it in my notebook. So, Week 17 was the last time that each team had a home game. Week 17, sadly, and it's fair, we all predicted the Commanders to lose. That's fair.
Yep.
Week 17, we all predicted the Giants to win. Interesting. Week 17, we all predicted the Eagles to win. Yeah.
I did?
Yes, you did. Week 17, we split 50-50. Mal and Maurice expected the Dallas to win. Earl, me and you expected Dallas to lose.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
let's talk about that one.
Let's talk about. Well, that's the first one up on our docket here because that was the first game that in the NFC that was played, and arguably one of the most controversial ones. So, Earl, how about you take it away?
I don't understand why it's so controversial.
I think you know, but I'll let you talk first.
All right, bet. The Dallas Cowboys played the Detroit Lions on Saturday night. It was kind of like a Monday night special before the other games. And first and foremost, want to wish everybody a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're recording January 3rd. Gosh,
Happy
it's
New
so
Year,
weird.
everybody.
I hope everybody had a good New Year's Eve.
Yes, I enjoyed it. College football playoff was amazing.
It was quiet but a good time for me.
For me too.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad that we all had a good. Mal, what about you?
Yeah, my New Year's was great. Can't complain.
That's right. You were working, weren't you? But it looked like you guys were having a good time.
Yeah, I worked until about 6 o'clock on New Year's Eve, and then I was able to go out.
Okay. Cool. That being said, let's go ahead and Earl, take it away, man.
Will do. Dallas Cowboys played the Detroit Lions. We won 20-19. The game, it was overall a good game. I felt like Dallas kind of shot themselves in the foot with a couple of miscues. But overall, they were able to get the points they needed and to win this game. It was definitely one of their final tests that would go into the postseason. This was kind of for placement, trying to see where the seeding is for the playoffs. And me going into this game, I wanted to see how well Dallas would play to help get them ready for the playoffs. I wasn't too much on the roller coaster ride with wins or losses. I was looking at more details of seeing how the players played. And I thought from what I saw from this game, they played very well. There was a couple of mistakes, but they hopefully learned from these mistakes going into the game against Washington. And quick little nugget, Jimmy Johnson ended up in the Cowboys Wall of Fame. Got his name in the rafters.
Yeah, congratulations to him. It's about time.
Yes, it was so long for him to be in the Ring of Honor. Everybody was just beating their hand on the table for him to get in. And it just was really emotional being able to see that, being able to hear him speak. Because when I was a kid, I was pretty much a baby when they won their third championship. But I really got a better understanding of it when they won their third championship. But by that time, Jimmy Johnson was no longer the coach. But going back, looking at the teams that he was able to build from a 1-15 year and then 3 years later, a Super Bowl, that was an incredible job by him. And to be able to do it quickly as he did with Jerry Jones during that time. So Saturday night was very emotional. It was amped up. It was live. I'm going to go through some of the things that went wrong. The running game has been lacking. I feel like it's been lacking all season. Tony Pollard is Luigi. He definitely needs a Mario or another Luigi. One thing I think Dallas should look into before going into this postseason is to be able to figure out how they can address the run game. I honestly believe if they can add this player to it, it could help with their run scheme. I think they should give a call to Dalvin Cook, who got recently released by the Jets. I think
That's a
he
good
can
call.
bring him in for a cup of coffee or lunch, see what he can do. He might be that missing piece to help the run game, and Dalvin Cook could be the Mario to Pollard's Luigi. And um, I'm just hoping that they can figure something out of some type of game plan for the Washington game. Another thing that went wrong was the early mistakes. Dak had an early interception that he could have tucked and ran and got the first down, but it seemed like he was looking downfield, saw CD, didn't see the safety who jumped the pass and got the interception. I thought that was one where I think if Dallas continued to move the ball, they would have went down the field and scored. Another miscue was CeeDee Lamb's fumble at the goal line. The fumble at the goal line would have been he secured the catch, but at the same time, that was the catch that broke Michael Irvin's receiving yards record in the season. And that was a fumble at the goal line pylon. Another miscue was the offensive line troubles. I think in this game, they had a tougher test with the Lions defense. Aiden Hutchinson, he was a problem. He had 3 sacks in this game. It seemed like he picked on kind of the weak links of the line, where I think Terrence Steele, he almost cost Dak his season, where Aiden Hutchinson tried to drive himself to the ground with Dak, nearly bending his right leg. Lucky enough, Dak was okay after that, but can't take risks like that with the line because we're looking to try to get that 6th championship and to be well and healthy into the postseason. And I just think going into next season, gonna have to do an O-line revamp where some guys that pretty much don't have it anymore, it's time to hang up the cleats. It's time to upgrade it to fresh legs, new blood. And we have a couple of pieces there that could do that. But at the same time, I'm looking at this team moving forward where teams are getting younger, they're getting stronger, they're getting bigger, they're getting faster. And I just want to make sure that we're matching up, upgrading as much as the opposing teams are. And I believe that Tyler Smith is the future. And he recently had an injury in this game where he tore the rest of his plantar fascia on his foot, where they said that he could make a full recovery with it completely torn off. So I wish him a best recovery in the healing of his foot for that, because I definitely know playing with that is some slight discomfort where I want him to be fully healthy going into the playoffs, in which TJ Bass stepped in for him in this game against the Lions. And I just think he will help shore up things. I'm gonna move over to the next thing where there was a miscue in the last 2 minutes. The last 2 minutes of this game, they could have closed out. Detroit wouldn't have had the ball at the end, and the defense wouldn't have had to play soft coverage, where Mike McCarthy was looking to get them to 3rd and 5 to try to at least get a first down to kill the clock, kill as much clock as you can. Dak Prescott checked out of it and did a fade route at 2nd and 14, which stopped the clock and still gave Detroit some time at the end of the game. And I just think from there, Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy talked about it in the press conference earlier this week. And McCarthy was just saying that, he was saying that it could have been a better play, where Dak Prescott said that that was on him. And he said that he lost sleep over it because it really could have cost him. And I just like how Mike McCarthy fell on the sword for Dak, where it just shows the chemistry that they have together, where it's like, hey, you made a mistake. Go ahead, fix that mistake going into the next game to make sure that doesn't happen again. So I just kind of count that as a learning experience. What went right in this game? Dak was in control. He went for 26 for 38, 345 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. My player of the game, I'm going to say it early, it was CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb played out of his mind in this game, where he is the sole owner of the record, passing Michael Irvin with the most receptions in the season, as well as most yards in the season. Salute to CeeDee Lamb. His yards in this game he had 13 receptions for 227 yards. It could have been more. Had one touchdown as well. He did so good. They sent him a drug test to make sure he was not on the stuff. And yeah.
Look, I mean, I feel like the NFL, anytime that anybody has an outrageous game, they gotta be like, oh, we gotta test them. Come on,
yeah,
guys.
They did that with Amari Cooper last week.
Yeah.
When he had over 200 yards. But there was a play that I had put on Twitter where one of the Cowboy followers, Maple, he was just saying, what did you think about this play? And I said this verbatim. After I saw Dak Prescott avoid a safety and throw a 92-yard touchdown with CeeDee Lamb, I was like, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, CeeDee Lamb caught another TD. And yeah, I was happy.
That's cute, Earl. I like that.
Thanks. Yeah, it was just being able to see CeeDee Lamb get going. I believe if they would have got him going earlier this season, I think he would have been in that 2K range of receiving yards. I really believe it. But maybe next season, no doubt he's getting the money. Like, he secured his bag after this one of his best performances as a Dallas Cowboy. And I just think the sky's the limit with him moving forward. I'm going to shift over to my final point, defense improving. Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence set the tone at the edge, as well as Micah Parsons playing off ball. He was doing his thing. He was turning it up in both positions, especially where he was diagnosing and analyzing off the ball, playing middle linebacker and sometimes outside linebacker. I just thought with him being able to split time with those roles, he is continuing to grow. He's continuing to progress, and I think is going to continue to get better, as well as the small lineup at linebacker. I think Dan Quinn can handle this small linebacker group that can help in the short term, but not in the long term. One thing that I think could still work with it is that I've been kind of doing my analyzing stuff with the draft and things, and I had a couple of linebackers real quick, I'll say, going into my final point, is that they have linebackers that are undersized that could work in the scheme with Dan Quinn moving forward if he decides to come back after the season. They have a guy in Edgerrin Cooper who's 6'3", 230. They have Jeremiah Trotter's son, junior from Clemson. He's 6 foot 230. Then you have Cedric Gray from North Carolina, 6'3", 235. You have Tyron Hopper from Missouri at 6'2", 220. He reminds me of Nick Bolton, who was a former Missouri Tiger. That's what Kansas City. I really wanted Dallas to draft him because I knew we needed the linebacker help. I believe the small linebacker stuff could work as long as you got traditional, true small linebackers. But my player of the game overall is CeeDee Lamb. Congrats. What did y'all think?
Yeah, congratulations to him. He had a career game.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was just spectacular. And isn't that a touchdown, that 94-yard touchdown,
92.
the second longest, 92 is the second longest in Cowboys history?
Yes, because there was one that Troy Aikman did with Alvin Harper back in the 1994 season.
Okay. So, Earl, you know what you didn't mention at all was the end of the game fiasco with the refs. So I'm going to talk about it. I feel like we got to talk about it, Earl. We have to.
I'm going to shut it down. Go ahead with your case.
No. Okay. Look, I'm not saying. Look, I think the refs messed up. Like the Cowboys, like they're not. Yeah, I mean, look.
It was the refs. It was the refs.
It was the refs, and it's just pure they should never be allowed. That group should never be allowed to do another playoff game moving forward.
Well, the NFL.
Sorry, Maurice. Just real quick. After that first missed call, Dan Campbell should have just kicked the extra point and took it to overtime.
I'm glad you brought that up, Mal.
That's a good point.
Lucas, I'm about to close your case right here.
That's a good point, Mal.
The first time it happened, fool me once. Second time, fool me twice. the situation that they did with that, and I'm gonna say this the last time because I've been fighting everybody this week over it. Detroit sent out Decker, number 68. From what the ref said, was 70. So Dallas was ready for 70. They weren't ready for 68, which was Decker. But at the same time, when they sent both of them out there, why did you have 3 linemen there to address the ref? Even after that case, he wouldn't have known which person was calling in to be eligible. So you can say it's on the refs, but technically Dan Campbell in Detroit confused the ref. But then when it didn't work the first time, you're going to try to go for it again. Didn't happen. Michael was offside. If you're Lucas, if you were Dan Campbell after the second try, would you kick it and tie it and send it to overtime? Or would you try to go for
but
2
clearly
again?
Dan Campbell is a different type of monster and has a different type of mentality than most human beings.
No, I understand. He wants his team biting kneecaps. So it looked like he was trying to snap at both kneecaps in this game. Look, I can't tell a coach on what to do, but if you know the second time it didn't work and you're like, hey, third time's the charm, and the defense knows what's going to happen, I don't understand why you're going to try to do a trick play, but then confuse the ref, but then you don't go to your weapons to get the 2 points. I would just kick the field goal, sent it to overtime. But
well, I'll say this about the multiple linemen. For what I've been told, I've heard is a lot of teams do that when they're trying to throw the defense off on which lineman is eligible and which one isn't. Now the referee does call the lineman who's eligible on their mic, so everyone knows. But that's just one little strategy a lot of teams do. But I'm not going to even put that on. The Cowboys were lucky and anything like that. And by the way, me and Chris had this conversation last week about this being one of the worst seasons of officiating the NFL has had.
This referee crew, they were in that game with the
Packers.
Not only the Packers,
Chiefs,
but it was the one with the Kadarius Toney who was offsides.
Yeah,
was that the same? Wow,
that was the same referee crew.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, they've been really messing up.
They've been messing up to the point that they pretty much removed them from playoff refereeing, but they are going to referee the Steelers game that comes on Saturday.
And you know what? What's even worse was the tripping penalty. They literally called it on the wrong team.
Yep. I owe Peyton Hendershot an apology because they didn't show the replay of the tripping, but then when I got a chance to see the video, I was just like, oh man, Aiden Hutchinson was the one that was tripping. Mm-hmm. They messed up on that play. Peyton Hendershot, my bad, my guy. But honestly, when I saw the tripping, I was like, hey, get him off the field. Get him off the field. He didn't deserve that because he did nothing wrong.
Yeah, it put a bad stamp on this game, but it was a really entertaining game.
It was I'm going to say it's the second most entertaining game in the conference this week.
I'll say this and then I'll shift over to the next person. This game, what I was looking for, it had playoff implications.
It did.
It was kind of a playoff game. That's why I was very close attention to it because I needed to see how well they responded. And now that I know that there's a possibility they could get the number 2 seed, they have to play the best ball that they have during this regular season to close out to get them some momentum going into the postseason because they have to take care of business this week in order to see where they lie in the playoffs and seeding. But kudos to Dallas.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun game, but maybe not so fun for Maurice was the Eagles game. Go ahead, Maurice. Take it away.
Yeah, speaking of the Cowboys trying to get the number 2 seed, the Philadelphia Eagles bungled, and I say that, I want to say another word, but they really fumbled this entire week and this game. This is One of the worst games I've ever seen as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, if not the worst. I've been an Eagles fan since the '90s. There's some analysts that have been Eagles fans for like 50 years, and they're saying this was the worst loss they've ever seen. This was just terrible. And me and Lucas talked right after the game. I think it took me until Tuesday to finally calm down. My heart rate went down Tuesday from that game. That's how upset I was watching that football game. But anyway, Eagles lost to the Cardinals 35-31. What can I say about this game? I don't know what's wrong with this team. I really don't know what is wrong with this team right now. Is it focus? Is it heart? Did they just give up? I don't know, but on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, we have really fundamental issues right now, and it's coming at the worst time of the season. This team doesn't resemble the team that they were, 30 days ago. I saw a stat somewhere about 30 days ago, literally 30 days ago, the Philadelphia Eagles were 10-1. They had the number one run defense. They were number 6 overall in defense in the NFL, 4th in passing offense, and 4th in rushing offense. That was 30 days ago. This team has lost. This team has lost four games in a month. I don't know what's happened. The wheels have fell off. Like I keep saying, the offense comes down to coaching, and I'm gonna stick with that. I know our receiver AJ Brown made comments on Wednesday saying it's not about coaching, it's about the players' execution. As the kids would say, that's cap. I don't agree with that. I think it's literally the coaches not putting the players in the right positions to be successful on offense. I think the offense has way too much talent to be this bad. You have a 3,500-yard passer right now, 2,000-yard receivers, 1,000-yard rusher. You have a great offensive line. You got a great tight end. This offense should not be as bad as it is. Real quick, Jalen Hurts went 18 for 23, 167 yards. Passing, 3 touchdowns, and 1 reception that came at the end. That was a Hail Mary. They've rushed the ball for a total of 91 yards. Swift had 13 carries for 61 yards. Just not enough. A.J. Brown had 4 catches for 53 yards. Devontae had 3 catches for 30 yards. One of the only bright spots in the game was we got a vintage Julio Jones game. He had 2 touchdowns, and Goddard had a touchdown. But the main issue for this team going forward is, and why a lot of Eagles fans don't really have a lot of hope going into the playoffs right now, because of their defense. Their defense is simply not good. They're a college. They're like not even a Power 5 conference college defense. They're like, what would be an example? West Virginia defense. Sorry, Lucas.
Oh, shots fired.
Hey, we won. Hey, we won our team. We won our bowl game. Okay, no shots are necessary. You don't get to take shots right now.
Yeah, I know. My
It was
apologies.
a victory against third stringers, though.
I don't care. One is a win.
What did you think
Okay.
went wrong from the defense from last year to this year? Because you guys had a pretty good defense last year.
Talent.
Yeah.
And I keep saying it, and I'll reiterate it again. Offense is coaching. Defense is just simply a lack of talent. They don't have a really good linebacker. They bring in Shaq Leonard. He's okay, but he's not going to fix the problems. Not now.
Right.
They don't have a good linebacker. They're slow. They're unathletic. They can't cover anybody, and they can't tackle. I think me and Earl have the same issues right now at linebacker position. I think this team really needs to use an early draft pick on a linebacker. Are
you sure linebackers your biggest need? I feel like corners your biggest need.
I was getting ready to get to it. Beat me to it. Cornerbacks is another issue. Now, we got back Avonte Maddox. You know, he came back from an injury, a pec injury. He didn't play since week 2. Then he got injured again, and he might be out this week. So his availability is a concern going into next season. Slay might or might not play this coming week, but I'm pretty sure we will have him back for the playoff game. Bradbury, like I said, is washed. Our safeties are really good. Rookie Sidney Brown had a 99-yard pick six,
Yes, he
which
did.
which is really
Yeah,
good.
that was a good play on his part.
Yeah, it was. That was really good. That's one of the bright spots of this game. Listen, our defense surrendered back to back to back 70-yard TD drives to the 3-win Arizona Cardinals.
That was in the second half.
3 back-to-back 70-yard drives. Now, Kyler Murray, he's a good quarterback. He's good. But the receivers that they were throwing out there, there was no all pros. It was nobody that's going to dominate you one-on-one.
Hollywood Brown wasn't even out, was he?
No, he was out.
He wasn't. He was out.
Yeah, he was out of the game. He didn't play. Yeah.
No, he didn't play. No, you're talking about Greg Dortch, McBride, Wilson, Rondale Moore. Like, these guys are beating our secondary up and down the field, and we could not make a stop. So
James Conner went off too.
And James Conner, he looked like Jerome Bennis out there. He was just running through our defense, running right up the line, right up the middle, the gut. 26 carries for James Conner, 128 yards. He averaged 5 yards a rush, and he had a touchdown. They couldn't stop him all game. This defense is putrid right now, and I don't see a solution. I don't see a solution going into the playoffs for this defense.
I got a question too, but Earl, you go first.
Maurice, do you think losing Steichen and Gannon is what's hurting this team?
Well, I mean, coincidentally, Gannon was the coach of the Cardinals who came in and beat us, and that was revenge for him. Offensively, we missed Steichen a lot. That's probably the biggest loss that this team had during the offseason. You might have not have known it at that time, but now we do. Because Nick Sirianni, our head coach, he doesn't call plays. He has influence on the offensive plays, but the offensive coordinator calls the plays. Sirianni he does a lot of the prep during the week with Brian Johnson, but he doesn't call the plays. So
do you think he should get play calling?
No, because he's simply not good at it. His first season in the NFL, he was a play caller, and that season the offense looked bad as well. Last season, the offense looked great because we had Shane Steichen. So the question now becomes, what does Nick Sirianni do if he's not calling the plays and he's bringing in coaches who aren't efficient at their jobs? So I'm not predicting anything, but there's definitely a seat he's on, and it's getting a little bit warm.
I see. That's okay. That's my thing. You can't fire a head coach who just 2 seasons ago got you to the Super Bowl.
Last season.
Again,
Lucas, you saw what happened with Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson lost his job in 3 years.
That brings up a good point. So I've noticed something with the Eagles ever since I started watching football. The last 3 times that they made it to the Super Bowl, granted it took longer with Andy Reid, but they always seem to recycle out of that team, and usually the head coach within a couple of years. They did it with Donovan McNabb, and eventually Andy Reid. The Reid took a while, and then they did it with Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz / Nick Foles within like 3 seasons, and I don't know. It's weird to me there. But my question to you, Maurice, is this: do you think now that you've said all that you've said, do you think the Eagles are a pretender in the NFC?
It's hard for me to say pretender because I truly believe with the talent they have, specifically in offense, they can't turn it on.
They could.
Yeah, so we agree. They could turn it on. It's just when they're going to turn it on that's the issue right now. Can they get this right in 2 weeks? Because more than likely they're going to be the 5th seed. So they have to go on the road.
can they win on the road? And are they are they going to get bounced in the first round?
Well, as of right now, they'll play Tampa Bay. We had this conversation last week with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So can the
Eagles got to
Eagles
secure a win this week. If they don't, I think the Saints take it.
And I think that's actually even a better matchup for the Eagles against the Saints. Either one, I think the Eagles will be favored going into Tampa Bay or New Orleans.
I mean, look, I'm just going to say this. Like I said, I'm my stepdad, rest in peace, used to be a Tampa Buccaneers fan. So I like the dog that Baker Mayfield is. He's a guy that I would not want to see in the postseason because he could turn it on.
Yeah.
Have you seen what he's done in the playoffs?
I mean, look, what did he only won one time with the Browns, right? So, look, that's when he was like in his first couple of years. The guy Baker
Like
Mayfield I've
2 seasons
seen
ago.
this year is pretty dangerous. I'm just saying, but
Listen. I mean, the way this defense looks right now, they could lose to anybody and they could beat anybody.
that's
I
not a
don't
good
know.
place to be, especially with your momentum right now. Losing how many of your last it's not a good look. I
Four
mean,
out of five.
yeah, that's not a good look, man. It's not how you start the season. It's how you end the season going into the playoffs, right?
Correct.
And Maurice, I have one final question. I know how much you appreciate Nick Sirianni. If you take a quick look back with Doug Peterson, do you think y'all could have continued to ride with Doug Peterson before you made the coaching change with Sirianni?
Well, yeah. Yes, I agree. You got to remember, and there was a lot of internal bickering and going back and forth in a power struggle there. That was the main reason, as was reported. I'm just going by what was reported between Doug Peterson and Howie Roseman and the owner Jeffrey Lurie, and that was kind of the reason why Doug left or resigned when he did, because you know when you win a Super Bowl, you could be idolized in the city, and I think Doug should have been. He should have been a coach. He could still been a coach right now, but for whatever reason internally, that didn't work out. They bring in a guy who's more of a yes guy, a yes man to the ownership, and we're starting to see maybe that wasn't the best hire because he can be a good leader, Sirianni. He could be a good leader, but your value is lowered when you don't call plays. You are the main person bringing in the coaches, and the coaches are failing, as we see right now. And like I said, it's not a talent issue. If it was a talent issue, we'd be looking at Howie Roseman. But it really comes down to execution and what this team is doing Monday through Saturday. And that falls on the coach.
That's fair. All right, we're gonna go ahead and switch. Did you have a player of the game, Maurice?
Oh yeah, the player of the game. I give it to Julio just because he had 2 touchdowns. It was a vintage Julio game. Could have given it to Sidney as well. That was a great play.
I would give it to Sidney, but
yeah, same.
That being said, Mal's going to take away with the most, in my opinion, the most exciting NFC East game this week.
Yeah, so it was, and we've been talking about for months, should the Giants lose out, embrace the tank. I was a little annoyed after this loss because it was sort of right there. Giants lost 26-25 to the Rams, which I will say, I thought the Rams were going to blow us out.
I thought they were too.
Yeah, with their offensive weapons and the way Stafford's been playing, and McVay's a really good coach. I was really happy that we kind of kept it close the whole time, and it was pretty exciting. It was a good matchup to watch. Tyrod Taylor did pretty well, but I'll start with what went wrong first. So the one thing that went wrong, I would say, that really kind of determined the game, I don't think Dable should have went for 2 at the end there, but also as a 5-10 team who's already eliminated from the playoffs, what do you really have to lose at that point?
Yeah, why not?
Tyrod just couldn't connect on that short pass. It was pretty simple. Saquon was wide open, could have went right there for the 2-point, and we would have won that game. But in the end, hindsight's 2020. It is better for our draft position, and if we would have won that, it would have been rough for us because we got a lot of holes.
I mean, where are you guys right now in the draft? Like number 8, number 10?
5.
5. Okay, that's not bad.
Right. And this week, if we lose to the Eagles, we can lock up that top 5 pick.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens. The Eagles have to play everybody because they're competing for the division. So we'll see what happens there. Another thing that went bad was Saquon just couldn't get going at all. I want to see exactly how many yards he had. He had 12 carries. I think it was for 39 yards. You just can't win a game like that, especially with the player of Saquon's caliber. And it all kind of goes into the fact that the offensive line is just so bad at run blocking. That is the biggest thing that we kind of need to fix in the offseason. Another thing that was really bad this game that I didn't like is that Kyren Williams absolutely went off. There was no run defense. The run defense was absolutely horrible. 3 touchdowns for Kyren Williams. He single-handedly won them that game. He's the player of the game for the Rams.
So, Mal, real quick, just to give you perspective on Saquon, this season he's had only 877 yards prior to this past game. I don't know what it is during this.
Yeah, and granted, he was out for a few weeks with the ankle injury.
Yeah,
but
that's
still,
true.
But still, we just haven't gotten the production that we really needed out of him. And like I said, I really think it has to do with our offensive line's run blocking because they just can't do it. They're the worst ranked in the league. It's terrible.
Hang on, guys. Hang on. Breaking news. Pro Bowl's just been announced. Dexter Lawrence is going to the Pro Bowl for the Giants.
Yay, we did it.
Cowboys. There's actually quite a list of players here. Same thing for the Eagles. Let's see. For the Cowboys, we have Dak, CeeDee, Brian Anger, Dayron Bland, Zach Martin, Micah Parsons, Brandon Aubrey.
I respect it.
Right.
And then for the Eagles, we have Lane Johnson, A.J. Brown, Landon Dickerson, Hassan Reddick, Jason Kelsey, DeAndre Swift. And it does not, unless I missed the announcement, I don't think the Commanders got a player in the Pro Bowl. Let me check. Let me make sure that I'm not missing it by accident here. Or maybe they just haven't posted it yet, but...
You said the only Giant was Dexter Lawrence?
Yeah, that's what the tweet says.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Yeah, just Dexter.
Okay, well deserved.
I guess the Commanders didn't get anybody. Well, that's a shame. Kind of brings on my anguish, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Keep on going, Mal. Sorry for the interruption.
No, it's okay. It was actually a good spot to interrupt because I was switching over from the bad to the good. So the good that I saw in this game, Tyrod, like I said, did very well. He managed the game very well. Secondary did pretty decent against the Rams wide receivers, who are a pretty big threat, even though Puka Nacua had...
Talk about Dane Belton.
I'm getting there because I'm the biggest Dane fan out there. Dane Belton had 2 interceptions and a forced fumble. He was awesome. This was a breakout game that he definitely needed. He looked so good for the future, especially with McKinney being a free agent next year, so we don't really know what that's going to look like. So it was exciting. I was really happy for Dane. He totally turned that game around. So that was a really big plus. And the other really good thing was Gunnar Olszewski, our punt returner, with that 94-yard punt return. Guys, I can't even tell you the last time we returned a punt for a touchdown. I think I remember the only punt return for a touchdown, like in my history, was Deshaun doing it to us.
So, question. First off, how do you say 2 questions? One, how do you say his last name again?
Olszewski.
Olszewski. Okay.
He sounds like a hockey player.
Yeah, he does.
It's spelled like a hockey player.
Yeah.
Secondly, did I remember correctly hearing that was the longest in Giants history?
Yeah, which it wasn't, but it kind of is because the longest one was a 98-yard return in 1928.
Oh,
so
that
it's
doesn't
been
count.
Almost a century.
Might as well, Lucas. Might as well.
Might as well. Oh, man,
yeah.
That's crazy.
It's a record.
I know. It was awesome, and it was such a great moment for our fans. The way they were celebrating in the stands, like that was something we haven't seen in so long. It was just awesome. So everything about the game,
that was an amazing play.
Yeah, Hyatt was involved a lot with Tyrod. I think him and Tyrod's connection is just, it's great. I love it. I'm glad that they got him more involved. And the game was just really good vibes. They played hard, fought hard against a really good team, showed some promise and some things that we can build around. What do you guys think?
Look, like I said, I thought it was the most fascinating game, and the only reason why you guys lost that game, yes, you could go for the 2-point. You could look at the 2-point conversion, but you had a chance to win it with a field goal, and you had to rely on a Mason Crosby in his mid-40s because you had 3 other kickers that got injured this season.
Yeah, what other team has ever had 3 kickers on IR? I can't even.
It's a unique situation. Like I said, Mason Crosby, isn't he like in his late 40s, early 50s? Like, he's old. He was old when I was like in high school. Like,
yeah, he's definitely a veteran. Like, for him to kick a 50+ yarder and what they wanted him to do, that for his age and him trying to connect that's kind of hard, especially out there in the cold, in the wind.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mason Crosby is, he's only 39. Why does he feel a lot older than 39? He looks a lot older than 39.
He's been playing.
He's been around for a long time.
Yeah, he has been around for a long time.
I was about to say,
well, I mean, 39 in football years is a long time.
But that's not impossibly old for a kicker, though. Kickers can play until their 40s.
Well, I mean, you got to look at Gary Anderson and Morton Anderson. I mean, they had strong longevity through their time.
I don't know who that is, if I'm being honest.
Adam Vinatieri?
Adam Vinatieri, yeah. Adam Vinatieri, yeah. So it's just, look, I mean, the accuracy on the kick look there is just he didn't have enough leg on it, and that's that's age.
He was also kicking in the wind too.
Yeah.
But besides that, I like the fight the Giants are giving out right now, and we're gonna talk about the end, but it's not going to be easy W for the Eagles.
It's not going to be an easy W.
No.
They're playing to look. If they were trying to tank, they would have just kept on playing Tommy DeVito, which I mean, I love the Italian, Parmesan cutlets, but like, come on now.
Parmesan cutlets.
Yeah, Parmesan chicken.
It was a nice story. It was a nice story for a couple of weeks, but yeah.
Aren't you glad you didn't have to get that tattoo, Mal?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I am.
I definitely want to try some chicken cutlets, though. It's been a while.
What was I going to say? Yeah, look, I think the Giants are not as far away as we thought they were at the beginning of the season.
Right.
I think you're still an offensive line away. I think you need at least, like, you guys were in a game with Tyrod Taylor, veteran Tyrod Taylor being your essentially, I guess, second or third string quarterback. So, like, you guys are just offensive linemen, maybe another wide receiver, but like definitely an offensive.
Yeah, another receiver. It's going to really come down to with the Giants. What do you want to do with Daniel Jones? Do you want to give him another season, or do you want to pull the trigger and get another quarterback in here?
Well, I mean, I think you can't really get rid of him. It's going to be hard to get rid of him.
Yeah, we can't get rid of, at least not next year. We spent too much money. He's going to have to play. The biggest question is, when will he actually be ready to play from his ACL tear from a few weeks ago? Also, no matter what, we need to get a quarterback in the room to at least sit behind him and develop for a little bit for this year. At least bring him in to compete with Daniel Jones, to push him a little more.
Anybody in the later rounds that you're looking at? Because I don't think you go for a quarterback in the first round.
In the later rounds, I don't know. It all depends where people fall.
What about that Michigan kid?
But there are some people that are saying that he might be taken late first round.
Really?
Because of how many? Yeah, there's just, I don't know how that'll all work. I hope, I have faith in my GM that he'll make the right decision with that. But we definitely got to bring somebody in to push Daniel Jones and develop. And if Daniel kind of goes downhill like he did the beginning of this season, that's when you sit him. That's when you let him go, and we have that out after next year.
Okay.
Do you think going with a quarterback with your early pick would work, or do you feel like possibly in the later round, maybe the second round, y'all can address that quarterback?
It depends on how high the pick is, because if we're in the top 3 and we're in a position to get either Caleb or Drake, which I don't know, we need a lot of help for that. We would need the Commanders to beat you guys. We would need New England to beat the Jets. And we need the Cardinals to beat, I don't know who they're playing, Seattle? Yeah,
Maybe.
Seattle. Yeah, and if they all win that game, we go to pick 2. And every team that wins, we go down 1.
Honestly, I could tell you real quick, if you're looking at, because if y'all are at 5, I believe if Chicago keeps the pick, they're probably not going to go quarterback.
I don't think they go quarterback anymore either.
I would say go get Marvin Harrison Jr. and then Washington can get their quarterback. New England can get theirs, and whoever else, if they don't go quarterback.
Cardinals aren't going to get a quarterback.
Right, they're not going to get a quarterback. So y'all would be able to get the third best quarterback off that list. If it's either Drake May or if it's Penix or
Jaden Daniels.
Or Daniels. And I just saw that Cam Ward is declaring for the draft as well.
Who's
Cam
he
played at Washington State. And then you have Florida State's Jordan Travis, who will be ready by the time of the combine to be able to throw. Or you can go get Bo Nix.
I don't know. I have a weird feeling about Bo Nix. Maybe it's just because I've seen the movie Draft Day. Any quarterback who has the name Bo gives me bad vibes now.
I mean,
have you guys seen Draft Day? It's actually a really good movie.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie. Anyway, look, I don't know if you guys go quarterback or offensive lineman. I think you could get away with doing offensive lineman and trying to get a quarterback in the second round. Who's your player of the game? Because you had 2 guys that really shined.
Yeah, player of the game is a tie between Dane Belton and Gunnar Olszewski. I'll probably give it to Dane because he was just awesome in the secondary. Gunnar had a really nice play, but I can't really choose one. I would give it to either one of them.
No. I think in this rare occasion you can give it a tie. I'll allow this. I'll allow it.
I'm going with Olszewski.
Olszewski.
Now I will say this: we had a Daniel Belton like our tweet regarding
Dane Belton's father.
That is his father. I wasn't sure. Shout out to Daniel Belton then, giving our podcast a little bit of love.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him. Maybe we gotta reach out to him. Maybe we can get him on the pod. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, he actually lives in Tampa, so when I go down to Florida, I'm planning to hopefully meet up with him and go to like a Giants bar with all of them.
There you go. If you can find a Giants bar there.
There's apparently a few in Tampa.
Really?
That he had mentioned to me, so I'm gonna check it out. And
hold up. You already talked to Dane's dad already?
Yeah, we talk all the time on Twitter.
Oh, snap!
Yeah,
make sure you give us That's awesome.
A follow. Yeah, no, we would love to have him on the pod. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Of course. Players, family, absolutely. And maybe we could get Dane on here. That would be cool.
That would be.
Yeah. No, that would be cool. All right, Mal, are you done so I can lament more?
Yeah, I'm finished up. Let's talk about your Commanders.
Do we have to?
Lucas.
We have to.
It's a tale of 2 halves here. By the end of halftime, Sam Howell was giving Mal some hope because she was putting in our group chat, see, Lucas, you might not need to get a quarterback. Lie. That was a lie from the pit of Hades itself. That
Fake
was
news.
not true. No. While he did play good in the first half, he just fell apart. Look, and I've said this already, Sam Howell had the potential to be a good quarterback. He still might be a good quarterback, but this coaching staff has ruined his confidence. I don't
broke
think
his courage.
Broke his, however you want to say it.
Broke his courage.
And I think he can't continue. I don't think if he's going to be a starter, he can't do it in Washington now. I think that ship has sailed.
After just his first time starting?
Earl, you didn't watch the game. It was back-to-back interceptions.
Look, I saw the game. I had plenty of time.
Earl, his shot. How do you recover from that? Very few players have ever recovered from something like that. And not everybody's Peyton Manning, okay? So I don't want to hear, Peyton Manning led the league in interceptions. Peyton Manning was the first overall pick too. And he didn't have to deal with a new head coach coming into his, after his first full season starting, probably a new GM. It's going to be, he's not going to have a fair shot. I almost for certain they're going to draft a quarterback if they stay at number 2. Who will be? That's another discussion for another day. I've already said I like Jaden Daniels. But I'm open to Caleb Williams, I suppose.
Do not want Daniels.
Huh?
You're better with Daniels.
I agree. I agree. We just got to teach him to, what is it, Earl?
Oh, slide.
Slide. Got to teach him to slide. But no.
And with Caleb, you will have to work with his ego.
Yeah, that's the thing. He has such a big ego. He's talking about wanting a partial stake in ownership. Like, what? Who do you think you are, dude?
Iceberg Slim.
USC quarterbacks, man, they gave me the ick. They really do. Anyway, let's get to the actual game here. Commanders lost 27-10. It was 13-10 at halftime. Back-to-back interceptions ruined it. Look, we played the 49ers pretty well in the first half. We were missing a lot of defensive players, but the backups really stepped up. I liked what I saw from them. Some young players playing good. For the most part. I mean, like, look, you're not going to do great against Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, but like, I saw flashes, and I liked that. I guess that would be the good, the good first half for Sam Howell. But the bad guys, look, they barely ran Brian Robinson. I think he ran 9 times, and he was averaging like 4.9 yards a carry. I think he was close to like 9 carries for like 39 yards or something like that. Yeah. Like, come on, you got to feed him more than that. Like, you got to feed him more than that. It's just, I forget the exact number of how many he had, but he had a lot of carries. I mean, like, he had a lot of yards for the minimum amount of carries that he had. Like, he did really good in that minimal role. And let me see here. Yeah, he had 44 yards, and he averaged 4.9 yards a carry. Like, yeah, that means he had 9 carries. Yeah, like, come on. What are we doing here? Like, I hope Eric Bieniemy's gone because he's like Kellen Moore. He's too pass happy. And unless you have a Patrick Mahomes, that type of coordinator does not work. Like, it's just, so frustrated by that. You know, there was a player who had a concussion. I don't know if you guys saw. I think his name is, I remember his number. His number was 34. Who was that? He was fine, and then he kind of just fell down and passed out on the ground. That was a scary moment in the game. But I'm glad he's okay. It was just a concussion. But look, like I said, I've already hailed to the process like it's happening. I don't expect us to win against Dallas. They've already now announced Sam Howell's starting, so clearly, I guess trying to play Jacoby last week was a last-ditch effort to try to get maybe another win, but it feels like a whole entire tank job now at this point. Look, Terry McLaurin had a good game, but Terry's not going to reach 1,000 yards, which, I mean, prior to this game, I think, so in this game, he had 62 yards. Prior to this game, he had maybe, I want to say around 800 yards. Let's see here. He had 888 yards. So he might reach 1,000. It depends. But it's barely going to be 1,000. Look, we're probably gonna draft a quarterback. We're gonna draft offensive lineman. We're gonna draft linebacker, maybe linebacker, definitely safeties. Look, our defense needs an overhaul. I'm okay with even trading guys like Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen if it gets us good young draft picks, opens up our salary cap space. I'm okay with it. Look, whoever's taking over is gonna need time to rebuild this team. And from what I'm hearing around, what I'm reading and stuff, is that the new ownership, Josh Harris, wants to model this Commanders team similar to how the Ravens done. So I wouldn't be surprised if they look for a front office exec from Baltimore. And I hear that one of the names to look at is the McDonald guy, the defensive coordinator from Baltimore. Now, Mal, I know your boyfriend is a Ravens fan, so what can you tell me about this defensive coordinator?
I will say he is up there as one of the best in the league right now. Powerhouse defense, just knows how to coach the guys. The team loves him. He's great for the locker room. He would be a candidate for you guys.
I heard that he's like the Sean McVay of defenses. So
correct. Yeah, he's great. They actually want to throw head coach money at him so that he won't leave them.
Okay, well,
that's how much his fans like them.
Wow. Well, I think if he's going to get head coaching money, I think he would want to be a head coach.
Coach, correct. Yeah, but it's mainly them just not wanting him to leave. But
yeah, and I understand.
He's fantastic.
I understand that, but yeah, no, if the Commanders get him, cool. Look, what do you guys want me to say? Like, we lost, surprise, surprise. We're probably going to lose again, surprise. Like, I'm in a bad place emotionally as a fan right now. I am. I'm sorry.
Lucas, I have a quick question for you.
Okay.
Along with the head coaching, how would you feel if Jim Harbaugh went college to join you guys as the head coach? How would you feel about that?
Would he be great for us? Absolutely. Would I trust that he would stay there long term? No. And it seems like there's always drama following him. Like when he was in San Francisco, it was the Colin Kaepernick stuff, which I mean, look, I support Colin Kaepernick, let's be clear, in terms of racial injustice. That's clear in this country. There's no doubt about that. But that caused drama with the 49ers, and eventually they had to reboot from that, right? And then he went to Michigan, and all these scandals in Michigan now, right? So I don't want that type of drama coming back to DC after we just got rid of Dan Snyder. So as great of a coach as he is, and trust me, he is a great coach, I'd rather stay away.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything to say about the Commanders? Earl,
Yeah.
We're not. Well, go ahead, Mal.
I know that you're in a bad place as a fan, but just know you're at this point where you guys have a lot of draft picks next year. You have, I think, the most cap space at the moment next year out of all the teams in the league, and you're going to go through a total coaching change with new ownership. So things are going to look up eventually. I know it's really horrible right now. It's been horrible for a while, but Ron Rivera will be over, and you can move on.
And like I said, I don't even want us to win. As much as it would be great to spoil the Cowboys' postseason hopes, which it would be, no offense, Earl, I just can't, in good faith, want to do that with the chance of having the second overall pick. Like I don't want to lose out on that. So
100%.
Me personally, just no, let's not win.
Hail to the process.
Hail to the process.
HTTC.
HTTP. Yep.
Sorry.
Who's your player of the game, Lucas?
Player of the game. That's a hard one because, like, I guess I'll give it to Terry because he had a touchdown and 61 yards, but like, there wasn't. I don't think we had any sacks. Did we even have a sack in this game? I know we didn't have an interception. I don't even think we had a sack in this game. We had a team sack. The ESPN didn't even count it as one person. They just gave it as a team sack for everybody. So, Earl, something that will make you happy. Guess who made his Commander's debut in this game?
Jabril Cox.
Jabril Cox.
Wow. What position he played?
It doesn't say. Just I didn't see him in the game. I just saw him in the box score.
God, dog. He played. I ain't even know he played.
So what was the story? Why he never got on the field the whole season?
That's a good question. I don't have an answer to that. But by the way, the player that got injured, the one that I couldn't remember earlier, his name was Christian Holmes. He had the concussion. That being said, like I said, I'll give it to Terry, but like, is it the best feeling in the world to give it to Terry? Not necessarily, but like, there's not anybody else I can really give it to. The nice thing is, at least like Chase Young didn't blow us up. He only had one tackle in the game against us.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna go for 3 sacks.
Nope, I thought so too. But actually, they only had 1 sack against us.
Impressive.
Yeah, Sam Howell.
Impressive.
Yeah, Sam Howell's. See, that's the thing. Like he's like not been sacked as much anymore, but he's stinking because of it. Like he did better when he was trying to hold on to the ball and everything, but like trying to make plays. But now because he's just worried about getting sacked so much, he's not making the right play anymore.
I think he just has an accelerated clock in his head, and it's really messing him up.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. That's absolutely the case. But like there's not much you can do. There's really not. But yeah, so there's not many bright spots here, but like I said, I'll give the player of the game to Terry McLaurin. I kind of liked what I saw from young guys like KJ Henry. I liked Christian Holmes. I liked what I saw from him. I liked let's see here. Who else did I like to see? I like David Mayo's. I'm like a big fan of him. Emmanuel Forbes. He had 4 tackles, 4 solo. He had one pass defended. But so yeah. So he's doing it. Like, look, the young guys. I think Jartavius Martin. He had a decent game too. Like, there's some things here. So anyway, that's my thought. So Mal, I know I said I wrote in their player stats, but we talked about it before the game. We're gonna do polls instead, right? The polls that we did this past week.
Yeah. You want me to mention both Twitter and Facebook?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Goes up and we will go through our polls.
So we did quite a few polls this past week. We appreciate you fans definitely participating in these polls that gave us some really interesting insight. And Twitter and Facebook definitely disagreed a few times.
Yeah, so let's start with the Facebook polls and then we'll go through the Twitter ones.
Okay.
So the first Twitter poll is Dallas Goedert the best tight end in the NFC East? About 75% said yes, 25% said no. And both who said no were Cowboys fans.
How do you know?
Because it shows you like who likes it, and the one guy has a Dallas Cowboys star picture, and the other guy has a Dallas Cowboys hat on.
Okay.
Well, I would say Ferguson is probably the second best tight end.
Yeah.
Waller had a down season.
Yeah, he also missed a lot of time too.
And I mean, I like Logan Thomas, but he's definitely not the best.
Yeah.
So hang on, Mal. Before you continue, I just want to point this out. If we didn't trade Montez Sweat, we would have had Montez Sweat. We would have had a Pro Bowler because he made the Pro Bowl this year.
Ouch, that stinks.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Not for me. And so did Trent Williams, another former Commander. Gosh, we are not catching a break.
Yeah.
It was that Snyder effect. He's no longer there. He's no longer there. Yeah, he's no longer there.
Twitter definitely disagreed with the poll on Facebook. 56% said no, that he's not the best tight end in the NFC East, and 44% said yes.
Interesting.
Yep. So now our next one is, does Dane Belton have the potential to be a star, or is this just a one-game flash? It was 50-50 on Facebook for star potential or flash in the pan. And on Twitter, 72% said star potential, 28% said flash in the pan.
Interesting. Okay.
There was some balance.
And now the third poll we ran was, with Sam Howell's most recent interception, has he ruined his chances to remain the starter for next season? 60% said no on Facebook, 30% said yes, 10% said maybe. On Twitter, it was 65% yes that he ruined his chances, 24% said no, and 11% said maybe.
Interesting.
Yes, and now we have our final poll, which is another Commanders poll. Is Terry McLaurin a top 3 wide receiver in the NFC East? Facebook said 90% yes, 10% no. And Twitter said 82% yes and 18% no. So both sides agreed that Terry is a top 3 wide receiver.
What do you guys think?
So basically that comes down to, because the top 2 is CeeDee and AJ. So is McLaurin better than Devontae?
That's the real question. What do you guys think?
That is a good question. I don't know.
You know what? I'll give the edge to Terry as one of the top 3.
Okay.
I will too.
It's very close. It can go either way.
It could go either way.
Yeah.
There is one more poll now. If you go to the Giant, if you go back a little bit further, there's one for the Cowboys.
Oh.
If you go back a day before, I post these during the game.
Oh, got it. Okay. So on Facebook, because I have the one on Twitter.
It should be on Twitter.
Yeah, we got both. So would the Dallas Cowboys winning this game against the Detroit Lions give you more faith that they can make a deep postseason run? 70% said yes, 15% said no, and 15% said depends on how they win. Now, on Twitter, 14% said yes, 71% said no, and 15% said depends on how they win.
That's really interesting how there's sometimes really diversity between Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was lopsided.
That was so lopsided. All right. That being said, let's get to our Between the Lines drill, Earl.
Between the lines.
Now
2
you're
minutes,
making me
4
think
minutes,
of that.
6 minutes was not enough.
Earl, you're making me, when you said that, you made me think of that PBS cartoon, In Between the Lines. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a great show.
Did you guys watch
that? Was my
that?
childhood.
That was my childhood.
No,
Now, did you see it?
I didn't.
Oh, you guys need to check it
you're
out.
Missing out. PBS.
It was like some puppeteer lions, and they were in charge of, like they were in a library. They lived in a library, and my favorite skit that they had was the cliffhanger hanging on a cliff.
Facts. Yeah,
Cliffhanger
he was just hanging.
We'll have to send you guys clips sometimes. We're talking about kids show here on a football podcast because no other
kids
place
at
besides,
heart.
We're all kids at heart. That's true because nowhere else can you get talking about kids show on a NFL podcast besides 13 Rings.
You ain't lying.
Speak facts.
All righty. We're gonna start off with Mal. Can you go over your slate of games?
Absolutely. So let's start with Tennessee versus Houston. The Texans won 26-3. That was a little bit of a butt kicking. CJ Stroud was 24 for 32, 213 yards, and had one touchdown. Ryan Tannehill was 16 for 20 with 168 yards. Then I had Pittsburgh versus Seattle, which was a close one. Steelers won 30-23. Najee Harris balled out, 27 carries, 122 yards for 2 touchdowns. Geno Smith was 25 for 33, 290 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Alrighty, I'm gonna go over my slate of games. The first game I had was the Atlanta Falcons against the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears blew out the Falcons 37-17. Justin Fields went for 20 for 32, 268 yards and 1 touchdown. Khalil Herbert had 18 carries for 124 yards and 1 touchdown. And DJ Moore had 9 receptions for 159 yards and 1 touchdown. And the highlight of this game was the Chicago Bears mascot. He was doing a Scooty dance in the snow, like
what?
He was getting it in.
What?
Yeah, it was the video I sent y'all in Twitter where he was just scooting. Like it looked like he was counting the many points that he had while he was scooting. It was the funniest thing. He's the MVP for me for that. Then the next game that I saw.
Hey, hang on, Earl. I just gotta say this. Justin Fields, I think he's earned another season. What do you guys think?
I agree. I would add another weapon for him with that first pick. Go get Marvin Harrison Jr.
It's gonna be very interesting to see what the Bears do. More than likely, they're gonna trade down.
I think they will trade down and try to get another pick. They could still stay in the top 5 or 6 and get a really good offensive lineman, or they might just go number 1 and go Marvin Harrison. Like, would it be so crazy to take Marvin Harrison Jr. number 1?
That. I think. I mean, he was the best receiver in the draft. Like, I think that would give him a second option to DJ Moore. Because Mooney will be that third option for them, where Justin Fields, as long as he's got some consistent receivers, I don't think he really haven't had consistent receivers. So I think if they do get him, I think he'll be a worthy asset to the offense to help Justin Fields do his progression.
Yeah, for sure. All right, keep on going, Earl.
Roger that. Next game I had was the Baltimore Ravens against the Miami Dolphins. The Ravens secured the number 1 seed in the playoffs by obliterating the Miami Dolphins 56-19. Lamar Jackson had an all-star performance in which having 18 for 21 in passing, 321 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He was the MVP of that game. The next game I have is the New England Patriots against the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are they are on the verge of having a matchup against the Miami Dolphins for the AFC East crown Sunday night. They beat the New England Patriots 27-21. Josh Allen had thrown for 169 yards. He didn't have a touchdown pass, but he had an interception pass. But James Cook had 16 carries for 48 yards. Josh Allen did have 2 touchdowns running. So their playoff hopes in also securing a division win would definitely help the Bills in their case. Their win, they get the crown of AFC East. And Lucas, can you go over your slate of games?
Yes, sir. First game I got here is the New Orleans Saints versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were coming into this game as the division leader. They lost this game 23-13. Despite a pretty good showing from Baker Mayfield, they could not really do. They even missed a field goal because they only scored 13, and he had both touchdowns. So that was interesting. Next game was the Chiefs versus the Bengals. Chiefs won this one 25-7. This was the first time this season the Chiefs offense actually looked like it had its stuff together for once. So that was good. Bengals are without Joe Burrow, so they can only go so far. They're 8-8 now. And finally, my last game was the game of the backups, aka the Chargers versus the Broncos. Broncos won 16-9. This is the first game after they benched Russell Wilson for Jarrett Stidham, and Easton Stick played for the Chargers in this game. It was ugly, guys. It was ugly.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
Absolutely ugly. All right, that's it for me.
All right, Maurice, can you go over your slate of games?
all right. The Jacksonville Jaguars shut out the Carolina Panthers 26-0. Travis Etienne has 16 carries for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. Second, Indianapolis Colts outlasted the Las Vegas Raiders 23-20. Gardner Minshew passed for 224 yards and 1 touchdown. Jonathan Taylor also ran for 96 yards and 1 touchdown. And finally, the Packers. They put a whooping on the Minnesota Vikings.
They sure did.
Yeah, the Viking season is over. Jordan Love, he's coming into his own. I like his game. Jordan Love passed for 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he also chipped in a rushing touchdown as well. Receivers Bo Melton and Jaden Reed combined for 194 passing yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, they're competing for that final spot in the playoffs, the 7th seed.
Yep.
Alrighty, that concludes everything with Between the Lines. Maurice, can you go over your fantasy league playoff matchups?
Okay, so we are in our finals championship week for John and Joe. Right now, Joe, remember it's to the 2-week final, so Joe is winning right now 136-116 over John. So they got one more
close.
It's close. It's close. It's going to come down to the wire. Now, the thing is, when you have a fantasy league and the playoffs is the actual last week of the season, things are getting a little wonky because a lot of teams are benching players.
Yes.
So
you gotta go all the way in your bag to realign your team and things. That's what kind of makes it very fun towards the end, because you're seeing what you have left, how you can adjust, and it helps you grow going into next season.
Yeah, a lot of bench guys are going to get runs, and hopefully they can make the difference for those 2 owners, fantasy owners. Whoever wins, good luck to them.
Yes.
And in the 3rd place matchup between me versus Earl is ahead right now, 148-127. Like I said, we got one more week. Lucky for me, I know Earl will talk about his team. Lucky for me, Dak is going to play. Pretty much everybody on my lineup is going to play that I have right now. Only guys who might not play Christian McCaffrey is not going to play. He's already out. Devontae had an injury on a ridiculous play. Don't get me started on that. Debo.
I got you.
Debo is not going to play. So that's a couple players out for me. What you got, Earl?
I have, let's see here. I know that Patrick Mahomes is not playing. I know Ayuk is not playing. Most of my other guys are playing. Like I'm gonna be starting C.J. Stroud because there's a chance he could get his team into the postseason. He's competing for that final spot. It's like a 3-way, I think a 3 or 4-way conversion on whoever wins, and then the scenarios happen to win and losses who will get that final spot. But I have most of the guys that are still competing. I have CeeDee Lamb starting. I have Brandon Cooks. I have most of my team that is at least fighting for postseason play, especially with seeding in this. So I'm going to see how well they can finish out the season, see if I can claim third place.
And in the 5th place matchup, Mal is playing against Kyle. And Kyle's got a lead on Mal.
Yeah, quite a big one. Honestly,
Ooh.
I think I had a few people who were out that I forgot to switch, honestly. But everybody that I have in now should be playing, so we'll see if I can make up the lead. I doubt it, though.
Ooh,
And
you had Lamar Jackson on the bench last week.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even think about it. Like, I forgot that I had him, honestly.
Yeah,
So,
Justice Hill,
yeah.
Brees Hall. Yeah,
I
that
made
would
some
have
moves.
definitely helped your team.
wait, Earl, how many points did CD have last week?
Oh, let me
Wait a
check
minute,
that.
I got it.
Cause
Yeah,
cause
30.
in my other league, in my championship league, he gave me. I had 63 points from him.
In our league, it only says 30.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the
So,
adjustment of points
yeah.
for it.
And finally, Lucas, you're winning your 7th place game.
Look,
against West.
my season went derailed as soon as Sam Howell decided to start stinking it up.
Oh man, your points look like a college score, sir.
Golf is a good quarterback. You had Justin Fields also.
Yeah, well, beginning of the year with Fields made me not trust him, and then, like I said, Sam Howell was hot for a while. Now that I stuck with him too long, but at least I'm gonna get 7th place because ain't no way West
You
is
didn't
beating
start
me.
Pacheco either.
I didn't need to.
Wow.
Like, not trying to be mean, and I love you, West, if you're listening, but like, bud, you're starting a quarterback on IR right now. What are you doing, man?
I don't think he's paid attention.
Clearly he has not.
Yeah, he has not. So that's the week. That's this week in our fantasy league. Good luck to John and Joe. May the best fantasy owner win.
Yes. Also,
Indeed.
Mal, good luck in your other league too. You're in the championship as well.
Yes.
Oh, you are.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Are you winning right now?
I am.
Nice.
Good.
I am too. The score for me in my other league, I'm at 320, and my opponent is at 278.
So you got a nice little comfortable lead right there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to finish the fight.
So I got about a 50-point lead, which is nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Finish
All
strong.
right, guys. Let's go ahead and Mal, because you've been gone for 2 weeks, you're gonna play us out. Talk about next week's matchups, and then play us out.
All right, so we got all divisional matchups this week coming up on Sunday. We have the Cowboys and the Commanders, and the Eagles and the Giants to finish us out. Cowboys and Eagles are playing for that NFC East champion spot, and Commanders and Giants are playing just to play because we've been eliminated.
Playing
Lucas, is there anything
for a high
you want to
draft
say?
pick.
Look, as much as it would be fun to ruin your guys' chance at the number 2 seed, I'd rather get the number 2 pick. So, hail to the process at this point.
I'm the same way with the Eagles matchup. So
I'm gonna say this, Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand y'all. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. But I'm telling the Dallas Cowboys to not take this game lightly. Because I remember last year, I know we weren't playing for anything. This time around, you're playing for stuff. And I would not take this team lightly. I don't care who is the quarterback. I just got notification Sam Howell is starting Sunday. So
Yeah,
I know
I said
that
earlier.
Howell is. Yep. And I also say avoid this trap game. Stop no feeling yourselves in this game. Take care of business, stand on business. No starborns this game. No Sam Howell effects. And what I mean by that is no players trying to be stars in this game. Shut it down. Lock it down. I'm not about it. And gain momentum going into the postseason. Lucas, good luck.
I'm just want good luck to make sure we get that second overall pick.
And what the NFL did was, all the contending matchups and because of divisional or conference implications, the games are going to start at the same time. So both these games are going to start at the same time at 4:30 or 4:25,
which is insane. They're just trying. You remember how I told y'all in later podcasts is that if this division was up for grabs, it's going to continue to run the race. And right now, the Cowboys and the Eagles are running that race to get that division title as well as the number 2 seed.
Yeah, so I tweeted after the game, and I was still upset. I'm kind of still upset. Eagles defense gave up all that to the Cardinals. Oh my god. Anyway,
let's go ahead and let Mal finish up here.
All right. So thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, 13 Rings and NFC East Podcasts. Make sure you like us on Facebook, which we are also 13 Rings and NFC East Podcasts. And you follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at 13_Rings Podcast. You guys have a great night and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Blessings.
Happy New Year.